Here we go. We are live right here on Cafecito con Colon. Welcome on this beautiful 18th day of June here in the land of enchantment, the Tierra del Encanto, the beautiful 47 star on that flag of the United States of America. It is a fantastic Friday. I've got some wonderful guests with me. Marisol Encinias, good morning. Good to see you this morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having us, Brian.
You betcha. You betcha. I'm just going to click this and make this public so that everybody can share it and we can get things going there. We're going to share it to my story so we can get some traction there and be ready to go. As we know, we need folks to share this video so that we can get as many folks tuned in to what we're doing here on Fridays on Cafecito con Colon, which of course we are lifting up New Mexico by telling our story on Fridays for the Hispanic community. We are working with a New Mexico Hispanic Heritage Committee and Enlace New Mexico, which do a phenomenal job of really preserving and promoting our culture. And there's no way to do that if you're not putting flamenco front and center. And there's no one in the history. We've got 109 years worth of history in New Mexico, and there's not a single family that had a bigger impact on preserving and promoting our cultura when it comes to flamenco. We are the flamenco capital of the United States right here. You can't get better flamenco anywhere, maybe not even in Spain, but okay, maybe in Spain. But that's the only maybe out there. Flamenco in New Mexico is the best. And we are going to talk about the history and the people that are the force behind preserving, promoting our cultura by embracing flamenco and teaching it to the next generation. And they do an amazing job with the National Institute of Flamenco, the conservatory, the school, the festival, the ability for people to actually study flamenco. The only place they can do that is at the University of New Mexico with that degree. And you know why? Because this amazing woman who had a vision decades ago, and she embraced that vision and she lifted up New Mexico and she had the tenacity to get it done. And that is Eva Encinias. She's in the Hall of Fame, being one of the city's most spectacular human beings ever. We even have her picture there at Alvarado. She is a part of our history. She's a part of our fabric, and she is just a beloved friend of mine. And she had two beautiful children who are carrying on that legacy. Joaquin, her son. Joaquin, can you hear me this morning?
Sure can, Brian. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Look at that. It's the very young looking Eva Encina. She is the only person who looks younger after 15 months of COVID. Good morning, Eva.
Good morning. Buenos dias.
Buenos dias, le de Dios. It's great to see you this morning. Welcome to Cafecito con Colon. We're thrilled you're here.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, what an honor. What an honor. It truly, truly is an honor. Good morning, Orlando Marquez. Speaking of the the New Mexico Hispanic Heritage Committee, we want to welcome Orlando Marquez. He is the brand new elected chair of the New Mexico Hispanic Heritage Committee. We're glad you're here. And then Angel Garcia, good to see you this morning. Dr. Jennifer Gomez Chavez, we're so thrilled everybody could join us this morning. And then, of course, we have the powerhouse in education for generations now. He is now leading the way with children of the parents that he also mentored and brought on their educational journey. That's Dr. Lawrence Roybal, the head of Enlace New Mexico's collaborative. We appreciate your leadership. Donna, good to see you. Jonathan Muniz, a leader for Floricanto, our LULAC chapter right here in Albuquerque. He is the vice chair of that and does a beautiful job leading and working with the New Mexico Hispanic Heritage Committee and all that he does. Phenomenal, phenomenal New Mexican with a beautiful family. So look, I'm going to do just a few links and then I'm going to bring in our other guest of honor with us. And he is a dear friend. He's actually a brother to me. Just like Joaquin, they've been with me on my journey for many, many years, been by my side, given me encouragement when I needed it. And Matthew Avila, he is the handshake with the community for the Duke City Gladiators. Matthew Avila, buenos dias.
What's going on, my man? How are you, brother?
I am terrific. I'm going to how about I put up my links and then I take the camera to you. Is that all right?
Let's rock it out.
All right, buddy. It's 9:04, so I'm going to take another 2 or 3 minutes here to put up a few links. We got lots going on this weekend. I think I have 6 Juneteenth events. Now I can tell you that I've been going to the Juneteenth celebration here in Albuquerque for years, and we do it in the park. And there's a few folks out there who are doing tabling and information and really celebrating Freedom Day. But unfortunately, the community doesn't always embrace that event on an annual basis the way it should. But times have changed. People have become educated. They understand the importance of centering those communities that have been on the margins for far too long, particularly our African-American sisters and brothers. And we do lift up Juneteenth now in a very spectacular way this year in the year 2021. And on this, the 900th day of awesome, as your state auditor of New Mexico, today is day 900. and I couldn't be more pleased to be serving you. But I will also join you in celebrating Juneteenth, which, as a federal holiday signed by President Biden yesterday, it is a federal holiday now. It is the first federal holiday we have now begun to observe since we started. It's the newest federal holiday since Memorial Day, I think, was made into a federal holiday. And so we'll have lots of celebration. I think I've got 6 events this weekend in honor and in celebration of Freedom Day, Juneteenth. So let me make sure I put up a few links about that. Here is a link to a great story on the Hill about the federal government observing Juneteenth. Now, officially, it was beautiful to see Kamala Harris, our vice president, standing right behind President Biden when he signed that legislation. And here is, I was incorrect when I stated that Memorial Day was the last federal holiday. Of course, I was wrong. That happened in 1967. In 1983, it's when the federal government finally adopted Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and that was 1983. And since 1983, we haven't observed or adopted a new federal holiday until now, until this week. Juneteenth is our newest federal holiday. Here's a cool little timeline from Axios that shows you the implementation or adoption of all the federal holidays. So check that out. Steffi Ann Griego, great to see you this morning. Adrian Chavez, another beautiful New Mexican who makes a difference every day. So here is another link to Global Citizen. You know I love The Conversation as a website, and you know I love Global Citizen, and there is their story. And every once in a while, I'm not going to put that one up. I'm going to skip that one. And here is in honor of Father's Day. So if you are a father, if you have a father, if you had a father, if you act like a father, I want to wish you all a happy Father's Day. I lost my father when I was a teenager. He was 49 years old. I've missed him every day since. He has a very special place in my life. My work is in many ways a tribute to him. And on this Father's Day, I miss my dad, but I celebrate the fact that my best title is father to our beautiful son, my father's namesake, Rafael. Because one generation out from the poverty that I was raised in, that young man is a graduate of Albuquerque High, a very proud Bulldog, and now a graduate of the George Washington University as a biomedical engineer, and he's now a professional. I love my son very much, and I am very proud to be his father. So there's a cool story from The Conversation about the Greek background and the special relationships between fathers and sons. So I hope you'll humor me. Click on that if you want to find that information there. It's kind of cool. Let me, now it's 9:08, so let me do this. I am going to put up this last link because it's a really important announcement that came out yesterday. When we talk about the New Mexico Hispanic Heritage Committee, we are going to be front and center in celebrating the return of the Las Cruces Internacional Mariachi Conference. So we've got that. We've got the dates. It's November 10th through 15th. I'll be down there in beautiful Doña Ana County to celebrate and embrace that part of our history that is so special and important. We've got Don Orlando Versace Mariachi Marquez, who is the head of the New Mexico Hispanic Heritage Committee, with us this morning. And I know he's going to be very glad to see that I am promoting and letting you know that as of yesterday, breaking news, the Las Cruces International Mariachi Conference was announced. They've got a beautiful website. Check that out. And know that they are hand in glove when it comes to promoting and lifting up and telling our story here for the people of the land of enchantment, the Tierra del Encanto. Que viva el mariachi. That's exactly right, Orlando. So there's that link. And then I am going to turn this over to my dear friend, my brother, Matthew Avila, as I post this last link to the landing page for the Duke City Gladiators, because they are playing in their home away from home. That's over in our sister city, right there, our neighbor, our vecino, that would be Rio Rancho, and they do a great job hosting the Duke City Gladiators. They're bringing the heat, they're bringing the fun, they're bringing the family entertainment. It is amazing, and I couldn't be more pleased to be promoting Gina's great work, the team, the Duke City Gladiators, with our handshake with the community. Matthew Avila, take it away, buddy.
Hey, thank you, Brian. Thank you. Thank you for everything, not even just right now, but all the support from past years, me personally, and with the Duke City Gladiators. And yeah, we are going to be in the Rio Rancho Event Center for the rest of 2021 season. Actually, we're going to finish it off out there. We're going to be playing all the way through August, and then we're gonna be in the playoffs. So September, here we come. And big game week. Tomorrow we actually play the Arizona Rattlers, and this team is the reason why we jumped into the IFL. The IFL is the league to be in for professional indoor football. The Rattlers have been around for over 15 years, and they're recognized for winning over 300 games. So we wanted to qualify into the league to be able to not only play this team but beat this team. And it's tomorrow, game day tomorrow, guys. Rio Rancho. Yes, we're limited capacity still at indoor ball, but you know what? We can still sell out at 3,000 people and just come have fun. It's going to be hot outside, so have some nice little tailgates going on. And then once you get inside, it's going to be a blast. If you've never seen indoor football before, it's so high impact and it's fast. And just think, you got NFL football players on a smaller field with no sideline. So if you are going to sit real close, be prepared to catch a ball or a football player, so you can take the ball home, but not the football player, is what we like to say. So, but guys, it's going to be fun. It's going to be an amazing time. It is Father's Day weekend. So the Duke City Gladiators we want to announce that we're having a Father's Day special. Now, when you go on to Ticketmaster or DukeCityGladiators.com to purchase your tickets, just hit the unlock button, type in father as a promo code, and it will discount 25% off all of the seats that you do choose. So we want to, say thank you to all the fathers that are out there. Many of our football players have kiddos, who they're not able to see because we recruited outside of the state, and they're here for 6 to 7 months and they're away from their family. So we want to make it as home, away from home for them, and treat them like family, and just bring you guys another championship. I know we got 2. We're ready for another one, and have it as the first year in the IFL and be the first team ever to win it, as their first year in the league.
I love that. I love that. You brought the trophy home to Albuquerque before. You are truly Albuquerque's team, the Duke City Gladiators. We know that you've done some great handshakes with New Mexico United. You are, along with United, just really a pride and source of inspiration for so many young people in our community, because you are engaged in the community. When we did our care package delivery with Team Chisholm and Brian's Angels, you were one of our angels. The Duke City Gladiators came out, helped us pack those boxes, helped us get them out in the field to families in need. And you're always stepping up. You're always saying, yes, we can help. And that's what I love about the Duke City Gladiators. You're always willing to pitch in when there's a need, whether it's for fulfilling dreams with kids who are in situations that are very, very painful. You're there to bring a smile to their face, or whether it's when families need resources for survival. Again, the Duke City Gladiators are there to stand up tall. So we got to get out and support them. We're going to sell it out. Last weekend, I think we had 2,600 folks join you. So you almost hit capacity, right, Matt?
Yeah. We were at 2,793 in capacity. So
Excuse me, I apologize. I got to get that right. 2,793. I'm the state auditor. Numbers matter. So look, It's not 2,600 folks. It was 2,793. So this week we're going to find another 207 folks so that we can be at capacity and rock it out with 3,000 folks for the Duke City Gladiators in Rio Rancho. Give us those details again. At 9:14, we're going to switch over to the National Institute of Flamenco. But Matt, give us those details one more time. I put the link in the chat. Tell us, what are the details for Saturday's game in our sister city, Rio Rancho, the City of Vision?
Awesome. So tickets go online, DukeCityGladiators.com or Ticketmaster. Remember to hit unlock, type in father as your promo code, select all the seats that you would like so you can get 25% off all of the tickets that you do select for Saturday's game. And thank you to all the fathers that are out there, to all the support in Albuquerque, Rio Rancho, New Mexico. We got fans driving in from Texas, actually, and Arizona. So it's going to be a great time, and just show them what, the Gladiators are about and what championship football is, here in New Mexico.
Well, Matt Avila, you're a champion in my book, my friend. I am honored to have you by my side in all that I do, and I'm by yours. So make it a beautiful day. Good luck tomorrow, and go Duke City Gladiators.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me.
You bet. We will see you again soon. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am very, very honored and thrilled to not just invite you out to the game for tomorrow with the Duke City Gladiators. Get your tickets on the link I put in the comment section. But today is very special because today is about putting a spotlight on a New Mexico treasure. We're going to learn a lot about the National Institute of Flamenco. We're going to learn about the Encinias family, which really is, in some ways, really the embodiment of our cultura, the embodiment of our history, the embodiment of the journey of a people that have had tenacity, that have held on to their traditions in a way that is super spectacular. And one of the things that make New Mexico the best place to live in the nation. And I don't care what article came out. I don't care whether KRQE wants to put that front and center about some ranking or rating. You cannot get the culture, the weather, or the gente anywhere in America the way you can right here. There is something very special about this being such a beautiful historic place for our indigenous population and for our Hispanic communities that run 14 generations in, and then the amazing multicultural landscape that is the Tierra del Encanto. And you can't talk about that tapestry without talking about flamenco. And no one has done a better job preserving and promoting that art form than the Encinias family. And so it is with great, great humility that I find myself in the presence of this trifecta of awesome New Mexicans that have done that cultural preservation and passed on an art form to the next generation and then their children. And let me just start by introducing the matriarch of flamenco, not just of the Encinias family, but the matriarch of flamenco in New Mexico. Although she's going to defer to her mom because there's a story there too, and I've heard it before. But really, you have brought shine and pride to your mother's legacy in a way that I think all children would like to do when it comes to honoring their parents. And I know that that's what Marisol and Joaquin do with their work, but you, Eva, in a very spectacular way, in a way very few people get to honor their parents, you have done just that. And so it's a privilege to consider you a friend and to have been able to share some very intimate moments with you of candor and love and gratitude. And so let me just tell our Cafecito crew, my extrovert therapist who joined me this morning on this episode for the New Mexico Hispanic Heritage Committee and Enlace, let me tell them a little bit about your bio sketch. Eva was born into one of the very few flamenco families in the United States. She's the founding director of the National Institute of Flamenco, the Conservatory of Flamenco Arts, and Festival Flamenco de Albuquerque. Eva learned her flamenco as it was passed down through generations of her family. She was introduced to flamenco through her mother, Clarita Garcia de Aranda. She was, and Clarita, as I was mentioning earlier, she was an American flamenco icon who was known as an outstanding performer. And what else? La maestra. She was a teacher. She established her own dance company, Ritmo Flamenco, in 1973 and toured with them for over 15 years. In 1976, she began teaching flamenco at the University of New Mexico, and Eva developed flamenco as an art form by breaking down the essential tenets of the art to create what had never been done before, a true curriculum in flamenco. Her discipline to the art led her to the inception of the Flamenco Concentration Program at the University of New Mexico Department of Theater and Dance, the one and only dance program in the world with a concentration in flamenco. She is a key figure in enriching the New Mexican cultural landscape. She's been a catalyst for developing flamenco as an art form. She's been honored by the King of Spain. She's been honored by so many organizations. She had to expand her casa just to hang all the plaques in there. She is really incredible. She has been since 2020 retired, but she's still working as hard as I've ever seen her work after retiring from the theater and dance department after 43 years, 43 años, bringing it to students and educating the next generation. She remains active in NIF, where she still teaches children's curriculum, directing the student performance company, Niños Flamencos, and providing invaluable leadership to the artistic and administrative staff alike. She's my hero. She's a superstar. She is a Hall of Famer for the city of Albuquerque, and she's a tribute to the generations who preceded her. Good morning, Eva. So glad to have you.
Thank you. Good morning, and thank you for that beautiful introduction. It's an honor to be here with you and celebrating another day in this beautiful land that we live in.
Eva, tell us a little bit about, before we bring in your beautiful children for a visit, I want you to give us kind of the historical backdrop, right? Because now you're two, and now your grandchildren are carrying on your tradition. And I feel very blessed to have been engaged with you so early, that Joaquin and Marisol, we were young. And then I had the value of being able to watch your grandchildren and the young children you were teaching when I first met you. Now they're leaders in the art form. And that has been I think that's been my favorite part about getting older, is watching these young children flourish and take the mantle. And you have done that in a spectacular way. So two things. One, give us a little bit of the historical backdrop before you had 2 and 3 generations following you, when you were pushing that boulder up the hill by yourself. And what did that look like? What did it feel like? Give us that historical backdrop. And then maybe give us a little piece of the corazón that really speaks to what it's like now to be retired and watch the next couple of generations lead in your footsteps.
Thank you. As you mentioned in my introduction, I began studying flamenco with my mother, who was a fabulous dancer, singer, entertainer. I still run into many people here when we're doing performances around the city that saw my mother in dancing in Old Town or in Barelas or in Santa Fe, or she was a larger than life woman. As a very young girl, of course, I loved to dance, and she taught many different forms of dance. She taught tap and ballroom and some Mexican folk dance and Spanish regional dance, and flamenco was part of her, part of the offerings. There was always a particular lean toward flamenco because she loved it. She loved the cante, the music. We always had music going on. My home was very much a compound where it was a very large house on the corner of Edith and Candelaria. We had artists living in the home, guitarists, different people from lots of different backgrounds, artists from lots of different backgrounds, musicians, dancers. So I was always around a lot of people that were very inspirational. And so from a very, very early age, my parents always said, oh my gosh, anybody would come over to visit in our home, and on would go the costume, and here I would go dancing all around our patio. But that I even in my very early age showed a real interest in teaching. And I think that of all of the different hats that I've worn in the art form, as a student, of course, a professional dancer, a choreographer, producer, nothing has compared to the experience of teaching. I think that was something that my mother inspired. She was a wonderful teacher, and I wanted to be able to continue. Of course, totally in love with the art form of flamenco. That became my medium from which to share the art form. I knew that there was something very special and very magical about this art form, and having danced from the time that I was a child, I wanted to be able to share it with other people. So then I was given that opportunity at the University of New Mexico, and I knew it was very unusual for a flamenco artist to be given a position in a university to really develop an art form like flamenco. So I took that responsibility seriously, and I was pretty young, so I didn't have the tools really with which to be able to just hit the ground running. It took a lot of study and focus and thought and trying ideas and then retrying them and reshaping them. And I feel throughout that time, I had this wonderful laboratory at the university where I could do that and really explore the successes and the failures of my efforts. And eventually it started to gain a momentum, and I ran with it. And so I'm very grateful to the University of New Mexico and to our community for their support and for allowing us to have the opportunity to do what we've done. Because I mean, even people in Spain will say we can't do something like this in Spain. The breadth of opportunities that people have here for learning and performing would be impossible to create.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. That is a beautiful backdrop, and I appreciate you telling us about what the people in Spain think of us, because sometimes in New Mexico, we have a little bit of a self-esteem issue, right? Because we're told all the time we're at the bottom of this list, which is the good list, and we're top of this list, which is the bad list. But we fail to remember there are things that we can't quantify. And the fact that we are able to embrace this culture and this history, la cultura, la herencia, in a way that's so superly spectacular, is something that you can't quantify in any kind of polling data or any kind of list that you make. And you have made that possible. Tell us about the platforms that you have developed to make that possible. I, for one, love the idea that you're doing the Niños program, the kids camp that's coming up next month. I actually posted the link to the kids camp. But before we get to your beautiful children, let me ask you to kind of speak to, or maybe you can pass it to Marisol if you prefer, but speak to kind of the conservatory and the festival, some of the different moving parts that really the National Institute of Flamenco spearheads.
Well, certainly Marisol can expand on the idea of what I'll stress here. The National Institute of Flamenco is an umbrella organization, and we support many different flamenco projects. It was developed to first help to underpin Festival Flamenco, which is coming up also next month, and was the first of our big projects, and is still really the lead on an international level message that we give at the Institute. And so that was its first project. And from there, we opened a conservatory, a community school, because as wonderful as the university was, we wanted to have a platform for reaching people in the community that weren't necessarily going to go to the university. And then from that, some fabulous results, the greatest of which I believe is the Hastros, the American Flamenco Repertory Company. And then from there came projects like Niños, a children's performing company, and Tiños. And then we have our kids camp. So lots of different projects that have spurred from the festival. I really believe that the festival was one of the things that kind of brought flamenco a little bit more visible in our community. And it's spurred on the need and possibility of developing a lot of these other programs.
That's awesome. And that all happens in the backdrop of you having these two amazing children who both at the age of 5, I think, began learning this beautiful, beautiful art form under the guidance and observation of your beautiful mother, Eva, and that was Clarita, of course, Doña Clarita. And let me introduce Marisol, if that's okay. Marisol is not just an expert in the art form through observation. She's also extremely well educated. She has her master's in fine arts. She is, of course, a native New Mexican who started studying at the age of 5 with her grandmother Clarita, as I mentioned. She's a 4th generation flamenco dancer. Her artistic interpretation arises from her immersion in the art form from childhood. She is executive director of the National Institute of Flamenco, and I put up the link to Hastros, National Institute of Flamenco, and I put up another link. So check out all those links I put up. You got a lot to learn today, a lot to learn. And I put up the festival link, which happens next month. So all those links are there. So put attention now, but then go back to the links later, okay? So let's see here. What else do I want to tell you about Marisol? She is the artistic director and curator of that Flamenco Festival that I mentioned, and which is, of course, the largest and oldest flamenco festival outside of Spain. I mean, people have no idea about the history. They have no idea that Yastros has been around, I think now for 24 years or something. How many years do we have under Yastros? 23? Marisol's giving me the signs, but I can't see very well.
22, sorry, this is.
22. Okay, I'm making the group older than I knew it was 20. I actually thought it was 23. So 22. I try and get the numbers right. I'm the state auditor. I got to get them right. So 22 years with Yastros, and let me just tell you, you cannot go to that performance, any performance with them, and not feel like your soul has been enriched to parts of it that you didn't know existed. When I wanted to celebrate my wife's birthday in a very special way, we went to the tablao that was here in Albuquerque at the Hotel Albuquerque, and that performance that day it was a private. Well, it was private in that we bought all the tickets, and then NIF was very kind, gave me a little discount, and then we brought in the food, and it was spectacular. But so many people had not been exposed to the tablao presentation or even knowing what a tablao is. And they left, and almost universally they said, I felt like I had felt a part of me that I didn't even know existed. The passion and the energy was just, there's nothing like it in anything else that you can do. I promise you. Like, if you have not been to a flamenco tablao, if you have not been to festival, it will change how in touch you are with yourself, because it takes you to places in your own spirit, your own soul, your alma, that you have not been in touch with before. And if not, call me up and I'll give you your money back, okay? That's how much I believe that to be true. So look, let me just wrap this up for Marisol. She's a native New Mexican who belongs to a family who's made flamenco performance and education a central part of their lives. Obviously, obvio, as the kids say, obvio. Marisol creates opportunities to make a difference in the lives of people in her community, and her community is New Mexico, the land of enchantment. And she does that through flamenco. By extension, she focuses on providing an exceptional resource for flamenco to other communities in the United States and even sometimes abroad. She's an amazing executive director. She's doing a great job at the helm. It's an honor and privilege to know her, work with her, support her, and be a founder of the ambassador circle that supports her work and her vision, which of course has been passed down through her mother. Marisol, thank you for being on Cafecito con Colon today. I've got a new cup of coffee here with me. I'm ready to go. Sit back and listen. Educate us about the National Institute of Flamenco. Madam Executive Director, bienvenidos. Gracias por venir.
Well, thank you, Brian. Thank you so much for having all of us today. And, you know, I have to say that I'm in the role of executive director, but all of, we really work as a team. So my mother, though she's not maybe, well, she's in the office almost every day. She pops in and out, she comes in and out, but, you know, she's not doing the same role as she was doing before, but she's part of everything that we do at the Institute, as well as Joaquin. So this work wouldn't be possible without the three of us, and also without our incredible staff that we have that work day in and out, day out to make the work of the Institute possible, and our artists. You know, happy Father's Day to you. Happy Juneteenth. Happy Father's Day also to my brother. I think, you know, you mentioned the thing about Eva pushing the boulder up the hill. And when you said that, I just thought that that really is kind of what inspired, I think, me to continue in this work, is that I got to watch her push the boulder up the hill. You know, as a young person, I'm gonna try not to get emotional. Not only did we get to see like incredible artists all our lives, we were exposed to not only outrageous, the best of flamenco artists throughout our lives, but also just contemporary dancers, musicians. Joaquin and I were very fortunate to have a life full of incredible artistry, and also to see somebody who is totally dedicated to her community and willing to work really, really hard to make that happen here in Albuquerque. So where I thought, you know, I got my undergraduate degree in other things. I have a degree in Spanish. I have a degree in anthropology. I decided Joaquin too was thinking about getting a degree in engineering. And then I think we both just decided, you know what, we love the arts, and we know that we can make an important impact in our community through the arts. And so continuing to dance, and we're all educators. And I think that some of the most, you know, my mother spoke to the incredible programs that we do, like Festival Flamenco, which is going to be celebrating 34 years in July. The Conservatory of Flamenco Arts, which now is like in its 20s, as well as Hijastros, which is in its 20s. The Niños and Tiños Flamenco, seeing these young people that are just like turning out to be these incredible young artists, and also just like what the arts can do in creating empathy and creating discipline and creating kind of an embracing of diversity that happens through the arts. It's really cool. We're starting a bunch of mentorship programs and internships for young people. I think that additionally, some of the stuff that inspires me most is the work that we can do with young people, high school students, sometimes mid-school students in our after-school program, and even in young college-age students. College-age students, high school graduates that decide to go to school, right, to higher education, and those who don't, and working with them on training programs. So that's some of the stuff that kind of really keeps me really excited, as well as presenting the very best flamenco in the world here in Albuquerque. So our festival next month will be the first performance at the NHCC that's happened since the pandemic. So it's been, we're very excited about that. The fact that we can actually go back into the theater July 13th through 17th, that's going to be incredible. Yeah, and you know, next year in 2022, in April of 2022, our institute is going to be celebrating 40 years. So my mother incorporated, and when I talk about her pushing the boulder up the hill, like, you know, she was incorporating this organization. She was doing all the paperwork to make it a nonprofit. She was running the festival on a legal pad. She was contacting artists. She was doing all this kind of work that now, you know, we have a larger team that helps us to be able to do. And so she was, you know, and I remember that. I remember her doing that work. And so I think that, you know, I don't know if I have anything else to say. That, like you said, we do a lot of work. There's a lot of programs, and there's really something, I think, for everything. You mentioned the tablao. The tablao is an incredible, beautiful space, and I hope people will start. We're going to be doing tablaos during the festival, late night tablaos with some special guest artists that'll be happening beginning at 10:30 after the theater performances. So that's, again, July 13th through 17th. And then we will start with our regular tablao performances the following week on Friday and Saturday nights to start. So we're very excited about that. And also we'll be performing at El Farol in Santa Fe on Fridays and Saturdays beginning July 2nd.
I love it. That sounds great. I have here for you folks, this is the Festival Flamenco Albuquerque main landing page. You can see some of the incredible artists that are coming in, and I encourage you to get your tickets right away. This is going to be an amazing opportunity to embrace this art form that we haven't been able to embrace in person in quite some time. And so this number 34 is going to blow your mind. It will help you reach a part of your soul that you didn't know existed, in my humble opinion. That's how I feel when I think about my flamenco experience, and truly, truly amazing. So don't miss out. Thank you for that terrific Marisol overview. Thanks for your leadership. You're very humble to say it's a team effort, and I'm sure you do take a team approach, but I have also watched you put in the sangre, just really, really your heart and soul and your blood, sweat, and tears all into this to do what your mom did for her mom, which is honor a legacy of impact and service through education. Because at the end of the day, it's all education, right? When we preserve and promote our culture, it's about educating the next generation about what that really looks like. What is our herencia? As we say, celebrando nuestra herencia with the UNESCO Hispanic Heritage Committee. When we think about the work of Enlace and making sure that our students are not just in the pipeline, but they get to the end of the pipeline and they graduate and they go on to college, the work that is done by these two organizations is so important, but it can't be done without your help. You are such an important stakeholder. So thank you for that leadership. Let me go to my brother, Joaquin, who I think I've known the best and the longest. I think he was the one that kindly introduced me to his mom many years ago, who I remember feeling kind of starstruck when I met her. And then I couldn't stay starstruck because she was just so warm and kind and removed any barrier to entry for a relationship. I just felt like I'd known her for a lifetime. And I think very few people have that capacity. And certainly very few people that have Eva's stature have the capacity to do that. And so I want to just say that publicly, because I think it's something that makes you even more special and more of a living treasure, Eva. But thank you, Joaquin, for making that introduction all these years ago. Joaquin actually has also done some work in a space that's very special to me, as I've had one of my godchildren go through the program. But let me tell you a little bit about him. He is the artistic director for Hiastros, which is the American Flamenco Repertory company. He's amassed a dance repertory collection of over 60 pieces of original flamenco choreography from some of the most amazing and influential flamenco artists from around the world. His vision for Hiastros is to preserve the beauty of traditional flamenco while imbuing it with the unique American aesthetic and energy. It's amazing. Through Hiastros, Encinias has been able to redefine flamenco choreography by truly understanding the flamenco movement and having an innovative and visionary use of space and place, passion, and his presentation of this incredible art form. He is one of the most amazing artists in flamenco and one of the most recognizable, I will say. Hopefully, I know most would agree, and Joaquin, no need to be humble. You don't even have to address this, but I will tell you in many ways, when people think of flamenco artists in Albuquerque who have presence, prominence, and capacity, they think of Joaquin. He is the face for many of us in New Mexico of flamenco. In the fall of 2010, this is where he lit it up for me, and he got me so excited. He was instrumental in the development of Tierra Adentro, the New Mexico School of Academics, Art y Artesanía. And I talked about that school last week on Cafecito con Colon, and now I have this gentleman here with us. He helped develop this free public arts charter school whose mission is to create an inclusive, thriving learning environment comprised of demographically and culturally diverse students. Focuses on arts, artisanship, artesanía, and the study of the cultures that comprise our rich New Mexico herencia. Tierra Adentro strives for awareness, preservation, and the progression of our cultural legacy. And when I think about progressing our cultural legacy, you can't have those thoughts without thinking of Joaquin Encinias. Joaquin, gracias por venir. Bienvenidos.
Appreciate you so much. You have such a way of bringing some so wonderful ideas together. You make us feel more important than we are sometimes, and I sure appreciate that.
I'm glad you're here. Joaquin, tell us a little bit about your journey. I mean, I would think as a son, and I can't speak to Marisol's experience, and I can't really speak to your specific experience, but I know what it is to be a son, and I know what it is to have a heart of a son who wants to bring pride to their parents, and carry on their legacy and honor their journey and the struggle that Marisol talked about, that you also observed for your mom, the many nights crying at the counter, no? Because how are we going to find the funding to put on this production that all these incredible performers are expecting to do? How are we going to, talk about stone soup? That's an expression in the nonprofit sector, where the resources, where you're going to have to make some stone soup, and you watched your mom do that time and time again. And in many ways, Marisol as executive director, your mom as emeritus, and you still need people to step up and help. And so there's a way to donate online. My Cafecito colleagues, make sure you do that and provide support. But the best way you can do that right away is to purchase your tickets for the festival that's coming up. But Joaquin, tell us a little bit about your journey, your experience, and then kind of the vision for believing not only do you have the conservatory, not only do you have the kids camp, not only do you have the tablao, but now we're going to start, well, at that time you didn't have the tablao, but back in 2010, the idea that you would take the curriculum that your mom created for the university and then find a way to bring it down to the level so that we could have primary education that also embraces that culture and that story. Joaquin, take it away.
Yeah, I mean, so I'll reiterate just a little bit of what we've been talking about. Two themes I think probably for today. Sacrifice. I think of my mother and the sacrifice. I think of my sister and her sacrifice. Um, it's daunting to work with these two women. I'll tell you that um, it's incredible, right? So that's my first thing is just wonderful people in the two of them. Um, so I would say that that's a huge part of my experience. There's such a wonderful um, unspoken accountability to each other, to quality, to greatness that that I just feel super proud of. Number one. Number two, I think another theme besides quality and sacrifice, I guess you would put those together, is New Mexico, right? And Albuquerque. Such a special place, and a place where this family is been able to thrive. I don't think we would have thrived the same way in another place. We were quickly respected and quickly admired for the quality work that happened. I think because New Mexicans tend to see through a lot of baloney and get to the heart of the matter pretty quickly. I think we're noble, simple, noble people, and I think so. I'm proud to be a New Mexican on that level. You know, I appreciate all that you talk about with our community on that level. And so my journey then, being a New Mexican and being part of this family, was to fill some very big shoes and some very big visions, you know, and so quickly got involved in as a teacher, involved in education. In the Conservatory of Flamenco Arts was probably one of my biggest projects that I early in my career really worked hard on. And Hijastros, those two things happened at really a very same time, you know, and I got to watch my mother teach day in, day out for years, decades. So I became very passionate and very opinionated about what I thought needed to happen for American artists to become a force. I wanted to create dancers in this city and in this country that were respected for our ability to interpret flamenco with integrity. And we quickly became known for being a force of flamenco interpretation. I like to say I'm part of that equation, but I'm certainly just a small part of that equation. And I feel like I was able to grab a good idea at the right time and run with it in Hijastros in the conservatory, and basically a methodology of learning flamenco, which is an extremely sophisticated, rich, in some ways complicated, but in some ways not complicated art form. And was able to have a lot of Americans, very talented young men and women, move to this city in the late 90s and so we became a real force of flamenco real close after that. 2010, there people in my company, most of the dancers were public school teachers. It was a way for them to be able to be in class and rehearsal while having a full-time job with benefits during the day, but they could be at rehearsal by 2:30. If their principals were nice, he would let them out at 1:45, give them a prep at the end of the day, and they would run to rehearsal so that we could all dance. Well, very quickly, some of those members in my company said, "Hey, let's start a charter school where we're able to sort of perpetuate this art form within the public education system." And I'd had a heart for education my whole life, but I was in the private sector. Going into the public sector was truly has been an amazing experience. But I think I have a young heart. I identify with with kids. I love teenagers. I love being with them. I love their energy. I love their energy and their sometimes their difficulties. I identify, and so I've enjoyed the process of working with mid and high school kids because I feel like I have a heart for those types of that age of people. And so what happened with the charter school very quickly is when we put the name Tierra Adentro on the school, Tierra Adentro, obviously, you know this for sure, and I don't know if our audience knows that that's the formal name of the Camino Real, and it's what the Spaniards referred to as this part of the world. And this was the Tierra Adentro, coming from Mexico City all the way through southern Colorado. And so we are the Tierra Adentro. As much as we are Nuevo Mexico, we are the Tierra Adentro of the new land, right? And so when we put the name Tierra Adentro of New Mexico on the school, it was really about two things. It's about culture and about flamenco and about Spanish culture for sure, but it's also about mestizaje and mestizo culture. And one of the most beautiful things I think happening right now in Mexico and other parts of the world as we're celebrating Juneteenth coming up now is how much of Mexican culture is really based in African culture, and how much of what we are is one cultural people. So as I'm working in Tierra Adentro as a school, it's really the dialogue of the mestizo and how much we need each other to be complete human beings. There's no puro race. There's no such thing as one culture better than another culture. It's cultural study becomes where we learn about detail, where we learn about sensitivity, and where we learn to respect other people. And so arts and culture is very necessary in the public education system. And so that's my big platform now. And I'm able to, to work that day in and day out.
I love that. And coming from a true expert who's performed at the highest levels, I mean, Joaquin's very humble. He takes after his mother and his sister. They just bring a humility to this art form that maybe in some ways doesn't allow us to give it the gravity it deserves. I mean, Joaquin has performed at the Kennedy Center at the highest levels. I think it was the production was called Soul Possessed. And at the Kennedy Center, how many New Mexicans have performed at the Kennedy Center? How many native New Mexicans have performed at the Kennedy Center? Like that is, you have hit the highest pinnacle of performing arts when you can say you've performed at the Kennedy Center. I get chills even just saying it, Joaquin. I mean, but you bring a humility and passion and sincerity, authenticity, which is a word I love to use all the time because I try and embrace authenticity in every day, and be present for the people who are in front of me and with me. And so I just want to applaud you for your journey and for your passion for reaching out to the younger children. And that's so important to you. And every time I've ever listened to you speak, you talk about that, about your passion for young children. And thank you for living a life that is enriched by serving your passion points. So many of us go down the road and we look back after 30 years and we go, pues, that was my career. But it didn't serve your passion point. And you are one of those unique individuals. And I think I'm blessed in that way too, that my passion point of service and engaging community, I get to do that through public office on my 900th day. I'm getting to live in a zone where my passion points are touched every single day. And I know the three of you all get to do that. I want to just say that, I could talk forever about you, but I want to leave the last few minutes to give you an opportunity to spotlight whatever you think is important for my extrovert therapists who join me every day and allow me to thrive. What should my Cafecito colleagues know that maybe we haven't talked about yet, about the National Institute of Flamenco, the Conservatory, Hijastros, whatever we can do. And don't forget to go pay homage to Eva. You've learned about this living treasure. If you go over there to the Alvarado Center, just ask them where her plaque is. You can go over there and you can pay homage to an incredible woman who has enriched New Mexico on our 109-year story of statehood. So with that, I'll turn it over and open it up and kind of just visit with you all about whatever you want to talk about. And the children are going to defer to the mom, which that shows you more of our culture and our tradition there. So go ahead, Mamacita, Eva.
In listening to Joaquin and Marisol and working with them throughout all these years, it just reiterates to me, the particular energy that we have been able to have because we are a family, because we do have a common love and respect and passion for this beautiful art form but superseding that is our love for education and our community. Um, I love the word authentic as well. And I think that one of the things that why children have been able to bring to our work is an artistic authenticity that is completely respected by the finest artists from Spain. But it isn't, what we do is not a replica of that. What we do is our authentic interpretation of flamenco. And I think that that is hugely important because um, we do have unique blends of culture, race, environment, and we can bring something to it that I believe is truly New Mexican and at the same time totally authentic. And so that's a beautiful thing that a lot of people will tell me, well, flamenco in New Mexico, why? And my answer is yes, and why not? I mean, such an important part of who we are.
I just want to give a shout out to my mom because, you know, Brian, she has the plaque here in Albuquerque that was like a super, it was an incredible day for all of us when we all got to go over there and see my mom, a plaque right next to Rodolfo Anaya, who's like, you know, our other hero. It's just like, whoa, I was blown away by that. But, you know, she was just also recognized by Dance Magazine. She's going to be receiving an award in New York City and later on this year for Distinguished Dance Teacher of the Year. So we're excited about that as well. I wanted to let you know that this year in the Festival Flamenco, Hijastros usually does a night in the festival. And this year, what we decided to do is to invite some other New Mexico flamenco artists to join Hijastros. And I think one of the things that you see, and I don't want to like, we do usually function from a place of humility. At the same time, we embrace the fact that we've worked really hard and that we've achieved a lot of good things. Joaquin, like you said, I mean, as an artist, as an educator, all of us. And so one of the things that we wanted to do this year was be able to work with other artists here from New Mexico in a hope to be able to create unity with other artists from here, from not only from Albuquerque, from Santa Fe and other places. So that's something I think also is worth mentioning, and people can check that out on the website later on.
Definitely, definitely. So as a point of entry, we want to make sure that people buy their tickets to Flamenco Festival. But another point of entry, can you speak to real quick, either Joaquin or Marisol, about the kids camp? Because I posted the link to the kids camp, and I know that's coming up in about 4 weeks. Are spots still available? What would that look like? And then I know we got to wrap it up. I've only got a couple more minutes. I want to be respectful of your time, but I also want to make sure people know how they can engage with you as much as possible.
Spots are still available for kids camp. They go to ffabq.org, and it's limited capacity, COVID safe. So we only have about 3 or 4 spots left, but if somebody's interested, they should go on right away.
Okay, great. Any other points of entry people should know about besides the festival, the kids camp? There's the link again to the kids camp in the chat, so feel free to check that out. What else am I missing?
Tablao will be opening again in July, right after the festival.
Great.
So we're excited about that. And
tell us. I was there for the very first performance at the Tablao, just like I was there when they unveiled your beautiful plaque. We want to celebrate Heritage Hotels and Resorts for being unmatched, absolutely unmatched when it comes to, as a corporate citizen led by Jim Long and Adrian Perez, unmatched when it comes to a corporate citizen who has taken the deep dive in preserving and promoting our culture while telling our story, whether it's Hotel Chaco, their most recent ground up project that pays homage to our indigenous population, or Hotel Albuquerque, their very first big property that opened many, many years ago. I remember that too. and where Jim said, I'm going to tell our story with the Hotel Albuquerque. And he did just that. And then he took it to the next level several years ago by building out a beautiful tablao where I've had, like I said, my wife's birthday party. I've had private events there. So many, it is a very special place. Tell us about the tablao that's reopening again. Let's be more specific.
So the tablao opens in July 17th is going to be our first weekend. July 24th and 25th will be the first weekend after the festival. So get your tickets for the tablao. And yes, thank you to Mr. Long and his staff over at HHR for being incredible partners and helping for everything that they do in the community for the arts and culture, but for being incredible partners to the Institute.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Joaquin, anything else that I failed to mention? I've got to put up the picture of the tablao because check out the food. He's got the mero cocinero in there that just does a great job with the food plates. There's the tablao. There's a great picture of the tablao. Of course, you can get drinks. It's an incredible, it's just not a performance. What people need to understand about flamenco, there's never a flamenco performance, in my opinion. There is a flamenco experience. And there's a distinction there, I think, that hopefully people can understand, but it is an experience. And the Tablao Flamenco Albuquerque actually gives you that experience in a very special way, as does the festival, as does the kids camp. I mean, it is truly, truly amazing. Joaquin, what did I leave out, brother?
No, I mean, there's just all I can say is the future is bright. I think, you know, there's an energy in my company coming out of the COVID. There's an energy, I believe, around the country. I've already had the opportunity to travel to Atlanta and Mississippi. This after, you know, since the pandemic there's an energy around, and I believe we're going to see an incredible arts time coming up. In the arts, we're going to have some special expression coming up in the next few years. I'll sit down and have coffee with you and talk about the future anytime you want to. And I think the future is bright.
The future's so bright, I've got to wear shades, baby. And that is exactly right. The future's bright. The last link, Catherine, I love you so much. Thank you for being such, your family is talk about philanthropy in New Mexico and a vision for economic development in our Hispanic community, and in particular our indigenous communities, where you and your company has made such a huge difference. Thank you, Catherine, for being with us this morning as we celebrate. Dr. Lang, thank you for being with us. Joseph Valdez. That last link I put up there, friends, that's the link to donate. So make your contribution. If you donate $50 or more today, don't forget, I've got very few limited edition Cafecito con Colon mugs left. We gave a bunch of them away on the last show that we raised some money. We raised $1,000. Eesh, I can't even remember which, some good nonprofit, social profit. I can't remember which one it was, but it was a good one. I know that because we only bring on the best on Cafecito con Colon on these fabulous Fridays. And today we did just that. We brought in a trifecta of awesomeness, 3 living legends in the arts landscape, somebody who just really set an example for her children that sometimes you can be driven by passion and then the money will follow. And you've done just that. You have allowed yourselves to live your passion, and New Mexico will forever be better for it. Thank you, Marisol. Thank you, Joaquin. Thank you, Eva. You're a legend.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
Have a great day.
Thank you, Brian. You too.
Thank you, everybody. We'll see you again on the next episode of Cafecito con Colon. Until then, be safe. God bless. Hug your loved ones. Tell them they're not getting through COVID alone, that we're in this together. Bye-bye now. And don't forget, sign up to win the lottery for the COVID. What was that called? The vax something. Get your vaccinations if you haven't done it. My prediction is today that we'll announce we're close enough to 60%. Then we're going to see July 1st, we're going to lift the public health order and we'll get back to some normalcy. We're sending our love to all those who have suffered and have had pain during the pandemic. But we also want to embrace the good things, the silver lining that came out of this. The fact that my son Rafael is home after having gotten his degree, and he's been back in Albuquerque now for a year and a few months. And it has been a blessing to have him lighting up our home with love and joy and Happy Father's Day to everybody. Happy Juneteenth. I'll be at 6 events this weekend. So I'll see you out there as we lift up our community, celebrate Freedom Day, celebrate our fathers, give beautiful thoughts to those we've lost. I love you. God bless you. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.